number of the lads, like myself, was disappointed that we didn't make it. Somebody was talking about, hey, there's an outfit down in Hollywood that's recruiting people for the RAF. So we got the banding it around and decided, well, we'll go down and take a look.
So that was the Clayton Night Committee, was it?
That's correct.
Okay, so what was it like when you showed up inside the door of the Clayton Night Committee? How were they to deal with?
They were, well, the only people we dealt with, I think, was the little gal recruiting. And she, I guess, got it all the data down and so forth, and says, okay, well, we'll send you out for a check ride and go from there.
And where'd you do your check ride then?
I did it out at Telegraph and Atlantic, there east of L.A. I remember out there they had, the field was in between a sort of a V field, very narrow, in between the high tension lines. And all you had to do is come in on one wing down and the other wing way high, and you could get down on the ground over the high tension line.
So when you managed to survive that, then they shipped you off to Tulsa, did they, or to Spartan, or where?
Yes.
And how many fellas then ended up heading over to Spartan from your bunch then?
Well, there was two other fellows I met there at the airport at Glendale. They gave us tickets, on the airline to go to Winslow where we refueled, and I got off to call my folks there. I lived in Winslow, Arizona, and I met Charlie Cook and Bill Wallace. The three of us down there. We were the only three young lads, all in their sports coat and all that stuff. Those days you traveled first class, and we were the only young ones there, so I figured we got to talking and found out we're all three going the same place.
What did your parents think of this adventure?
Well, they told me it was real late in the night when we got there. They called them, and they said, well, right when you get there.
And how long was your course then over at Spartan? Roughly how long were you there?
It was about 2 months, something like that.
And then at that time, did they give you any idea what you'd be doing after you got overseas, or what the RAF life would be all about, or was it strictly flying and that was it?
Yeah, that was about it. We had a lad that was one of our instructors that claimed to have been over there, and he was giving us all the hullabaloo about the instrument flying. That was his prime job, and telling us about how we've had to fly down balloons between the balloons on instruments and all this stuff, and that sort of panicked us and made us concentrate on what we're doing. But and then we had a group captain came over and talked to the bunch one time.
So they were low key then. Well, you were in the States, and the RAF kind of kept low key until you.
Very low key. Very low key.
I guess in case there was any problem with the Neutrality Act.
Right.
So then from there they shipped you off to Ottawa. Is that?
Oh yeah. So went up to Ottawa, and we spent a few days up there, and.
Did they give you any check rides or anything up there?
Yes, I was the one that was chosen out of the group.
They checked you out in a Harvard up there?
Right. Checked out, see how I could do it then. And I guess I walked through that one okay too.
And then everybody else passed. They get that.
Yeah.
Because Red Campbell told me that's what they did with him, is they chose one out of the bunch.
Right.
He passed, so everybody passed.
That's it.
So when you got to Ottawa, now you're across the border out of the U.S. Away from the Neutrality Act. Did they lay it on heavy then about what you'd be doing and life in the RAF?
No, I never. We had a visit with, what was his name? One of the real gentlemen.
Oh, this was a RAF guy.
This was somebody else there that met us there. And of course, we stayed in the hotel, and they showed us around town and do this, that, and so forth, and waiting for a specific time to ship us out to Halifax. We went over on the India ship, I can't remember, Madura, yeah. It was a cruise liner from India. And
you're a little nervous for U-boats, I imagine. All the
Well, yeah, we had duty every night going over. Beaufort duty, you know, going up on Beaufort guns. We got to fire them and get acquainted with them, and every night we had duty on board.
Where did you land in England then?
We landed in Glasgow and took the train down. As soon as we got off the ship, there were people there to make sure we got on the train and head for London, and in London the next morning.
And then they swore you in there.
Yeah, we went to Air Ministry,
And what did they say to you there then? What would they say with these American fellas showing up there?
Well, we went in right, and I wish I could remember the name of that one man. His whole job was assigning fighter pilots. He did all the assignment for fighter pilots.
Yeah. What was the comment though when they saw these Americans standing there? What was the...
Nothing.
So you were just a body to fly an aircraft. Didn't matter where you came from. Didn't matter where you came from. It was strictly...
yeah, because there were people from everywhere, you know.
Yeah. So at that time, really, Americans weren't standing out any more than any other...
Negative.
Any more than Czechs or Poles or
That's right.
anyone else.
South Africans, Australians.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well then when all this Eagle Squadron publicity came up, how did you guys handle that? They seemed to really...
I didn't know anything about it. I didn't pay any attention to any of it.
So it was really
I never heard anything about it until almost a year later when we started getting ready to transfer. I didn't pay any attention to it.
But was there much publicity with 133 or not?
No.
So you got into 133, and what date were you posted into 133?
It was in August, no, wait a minute. August, September, sometime in there, 41.
Now, when you heard about Pearl Harbor, what were you thinking as soon as the word came out about Pearl Harbor? Did you think you'd be transferring over immediately, or what was the discussion?
No. As a matter of fact, I'd never heard of Pearl Harbor when they told me about it.
And then when you heard, well, that now we're at war, I guess we'll be transferring. Was that the discussion, or were you...
No, I didn't pay any attention to that either, because I figured, well, things will work out the way they are, you know.
Was Colby King there when you were...
Oh yeah, I knew Colby well.
What did you think of Colby?
I liked him. He was an older man.
He was another natural leader, I guess.
Yeah. He had a lot of flying time. Yeah, K.K. Kimbrough, George Sperry, Cook Wallace, Dale Taylor, Tony Gallo, all these, yeah, they were all together. We were all together in Ireland. Johnson was the A-Flight commander. He was RAF.
So you fellas then, when you were on leave and you were wandering around England, and what was the comment from the Brits when they saw the old Eagle Squadron thing on your shoulder? What was any comment?
I tell you, I don't remember anything about it.
So it's more the media made the hype out of it, but the actual Eagle Squadrons, there was nothing like that going on other than the 71 Squadron.
No, I guess so, because like I say, we didn't pay much attention to any of it. Or I didn't anyway.
Yeah. So once you finished with 133, did you went to the 4th Fighter Group then?
No, after I transferred, I did not go back to the group. I went to Fighter Command headquarters there at Bush, 8th Fighter Command, and then because they had no job at the time for me, General Hunter worked it out with Sir Sholto Douglas, who had me assigned to the RAF headquarters and stay in the RAF uniform. I was working with on navigation was a big thing. They were really concerned about the American pilots being able to navigate around there. And so they sent me to navigation school, and I worked with people there at the headquarters, the fellow that made maps for the RAF. Captain Godfrey.
Don, did you wear 2 wings on your uniform?
That's right.
And when these fellows that didn't have that second wing, was there any jealousy or any indifference?
No, the jealousy came from the upper levels, and I noticed it a couple of times when I was from lieutenant colonels and so forth that just coming over, you know. You guys, you didn't go through school, you didn't know this, you didn't know that, and so forth. All you were was pilots. So, but that happened.
And they'd make those comments, or you just sense that?
No, you could. I've heard comments about it.
Even though you demonstrated your abilities in combat, and they hadn't.
That's right.
And they still made those comments.
That's right.
Why do you think they'd make those comments? What was it again? Jealousy? what was the deal there? So even in wartime there was politics, big time politics.
Yeah, big time politics. I don't know.
Yeah. But did you feel a camaraderie then with the fellas that came through the RAF when you see that second wing on some fella? Would you feel a bit of camaraderie or not? Or was it just you're all in there to do a job?
Yeah, you know, you buddy up with them anyway. They're at the Crackers Club, and they all shoot the breeze. Well, I didn't know you at the 121 and all this stuff. And did you know so-and-so? Yeah, did you know so-and-so? So there you are, you're talking about it.
Yeah. When you got over to the 4th then, who was the commandant? Was Blakely or?
Blakely was my boss, yep.
And what'd you think of Doc?
Oh, I'd been with him before, see? And it was just like old time, say, going back, flying with him.
And you had him before meeting what, with 133 or where?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don, as far as I'm concerned, he's straight arrow. He was a fighter pilot, Boy, I tell you, number one. A great guy. I flew when I got back on ops in 44 before I got shot down. He'd have me fly because I'd been away, you know, for a while. He'd put me there as number 2, so he could take care of me. Great guy.
So he was a natural leader then?
Natural.
Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.